This month, being a mental health awareness month, diagnosis and treatment vary in different ways. Mental illness has been a threat to humanity for years across the globe. Patients who have suffered from mental illness have always described the road as crazy, with stigmatization being one of the challenges that led them to sink further into the menace. Tonight, our special reports reporter, Dolly Murigi, brings us the story of two men who battled mental health challenges and how they overcame them.
It is the battle of the mind, triggered by real situations in life. The rising number of mental-related cases is on the rise, even as the government is trying hard to come up with possible solutions to tackle the matter. Kibra is located to the southwest of the city of Nairobi, maybe known as the second largest slum in Africa, where business goes on for 24 hours, but now it's a slum that is slowly proving to be home to many youth who are involved in organized crime. Meet Moses Mbeya, the vice chair of Akili Bomba in Kibra. He was born and raised here in this slum. At the age of 14, Moses indulged in alcoholism, which he struggled with for 5 years to hide what he claims as a stressful life.
I must say I have come from a background that is not that poor, a well-off family. I went to good schools, yet at age 14, I already started drinking alcohol. All through up to campus, I finished campus, I got some jobs. They were all messed up because of alcohol drinking. So I have had a lot of challenges with alcohol drinking, but I came to Akili Bomba and found a support system that lacked for me a lot.
An estimated population of 1 million suffers from inadequate housing, overcrowding, poor or non-existent sanitation, and grinding poverty in the slum. This, as Moses says, has been the greatest contributor to mental illness.
I realized that what you need is a support system. For me, my mom was a good support system. She encouraged me to keep on struggling to stop drinking alcohol. And I found that to be very unique, in the sense that it helped me. In our society here in Kibra, you find that when someone is undergoing a lot of mental challenges, as a result of very stress, then they engage into alcoholism, then they go back to the community and say, we want to change, then the community struggles to accept him or her.
Felix Kokonya, the founder and the chairperson of Akili Bomba, was born and raised too at Kibra slum. At a tender age, he was involved in a gang and later introduced to drugs and petty crime, which grew up into advanced crime.
Nilikuwa mraibu wa bangi, nilikuwa mraibu wa miraa, nilikuwa mraibu wa pombe, nilikuwa mraibu wa heroin. Ikafika mahali mpaka nilikuwa najidunga kichuri kwa veins zangu. So for a period of 25 years, nilikuwa kwa addiction. Na ninaweza sema ya kwamba kile ambacho kilinifanya kuweza kuamua kuachana na miadarati ni ya kwamba niliona wenzangu ambao nilikuwa natumia nao wakiweza kuaga, wengine wakifungwa jela, wengine wako kamiti mpaka muda huu tunaongea na wewe.
Even after being taken at the rehabilitation center 3 consecutive times, that was not a solution to him. Crime was part of him.
Rehab haikunisaidia. Manake nikitoka rehab, nilikuwa narudi hapa nje na kutana the same faces zenye niliwacha hapa, the same people wenye tulikuwa tunakunywa nao pombe. So ilikuwa inani lead back to addiction. Sasa kile ambacho ninafurahia ya kwamba nilipata wakati huu ni wakati ambapo nilirudi kutoka sehemu ambapo nilienda kutafuta kusaidika, nikawacha for 4 months nikiketi sehemu huko South Nyanza kama rehabilitation. Nilikuja nikapata wenzangu ambao nao pia walikuwa napitia uraibu. Sasa nilikuja na hiyo idea ya tuketi chini, tutengeneze support group.
According to the Mazingira Women Initiative founder, Malasen Hamida, one can't have a clean environment without having a sound mind. The initiative deals with mental issues and environment conservation.
Ukiangalia mazingira ya mwanadamu na mazingira yake kwa ujumla, inataka akili ikiwa sawa sawa. kwa sababu kama akili zetu haziko sawasawa, hatuna utulivu wa akili, tuko na msongamano wa mawazo, unapata mazingira yetu yanakuwa mabaya zaidi. Ukipata mtu ambaye ako na msongamano wa mawazo, unapata anajitenga, unapata wakati mwingine hata hajiangalii mazingira yake, unapata wakati mwingine hata haogi, unapata ni mchafu, hata penye anaishi ukiangalia mazingira yale hapo, unaangalia mazingira ni machafu, huyo mtu hayuko sawa.
The impact of COVID-19 was greatly felt across the country, across all ages. Rising cases of domestic violence, anger, frustration, teen pregnancies was not easy tasks to deal with.
Mwanzo kazi imeharibika, mapato yamepungua na watu hawajazoeana. Wazazi, familia, mume na mke hawajazoeana kuangaliana kwa wakati mwingi. So unapata ile hasira inakuja, unapata kumekuwa na domestic violence nyingi sana wakati wa COVID. Tukiangalia kumekuwa na mambo kama unapata teenage pregnancies.
Post-pandemic mental illnesses led to an increase in suicide cases as opposed to the previous times. COVID-19 was a stress factor that prolonged for long.
We had a lot of people being laid off from their workplaces. We had people who, if you're earning 100,000, suddenly the company is not making as much money because of COVID, so you're told you're going to be paid 50,000. There was also the issue of domestic violence. We had to deal a lot with that. If you follow the statistics, the upsurge on domestic violence went up very high. And why did this happen? Because people are forced into close proximity.
However, it's not easy for the psychologists either. At times, they need help too.
Even we as psychologists do need help psychologically. We meet so many instances in our line of work where you feel that is weighing so heavily on my mind. Sometimes you feel like you can't sleep. Because one of the things that we do in psychological counseling is to empathize a lot with what is going on in the lives of our patients, which means that you see their worldview. So if someone comes to you and experiencing loss and grief, sometimes it could trigger a loss that you also encountered, and it sets you in a bad place mentally. So what do? We go for what we call peer supervision.
According to Reverend Moses Boyd, unless a lot of information is given by the patient, it is a challenge for the one involved to heal, as it is a time process for recovery.
The attitude towards recovery requires that the person is actually positive towards recovery. That's one. Number two, I will recommend that someone would also be able to visit a counselor and get the recommendations of the counselor as to how they can get recovery. Then I'll now move and tell you that you also will need a spiritual guidance.
Because there is evidence that medication actually helps people, isn't it? But now if a spiritual or a traditional healer comes and tells you don't take the medication, then what happens? The patient actually relapses, which means they now stop being well, they go back to the state they were in before, and sometimes to a much worse state than they were in. So we say, if your pastor can come and pray for you and you take your medication, then by all means we encourage that.
A message to mental health patients.
I will encourage people undergoing a lot of mental health situations and families that have people undergoing the same to look at the person before he became an alcoholic or a drug addict or GBV person, whatever situation they are going through, to try and support them. That's why in Akili Bomba, we try to sensitize the family.
I'll suggest to anyone out there who's going through mental illness that they will be patient with themselves, they will be patient with the counselors, patient with the pastors, but as well, they should be able to give information completely without hiding so much, because I think if you need recovery, then you should be able to give information.
Dolly Wirigi for Hope TV.